thank you for attending. This is like a tiring weekend. This is the last one, so thank you for your attention, and thank you for wanting to learn about Kiva and the data access projects at Kiva. This is my first PyBay talk. This is my first PyBay attendance, and so I'm really happy to see lots of people from my past, Rachel, and alumni from Hackbright, and just meeting whole new people like Sean at the Lego workshop. So it's great to become more a part of the PyBay community. My name's Melissa. I'm a software engineer on the data science team at Kiva.org. I'm also a Hackbright graduate. My original training was in English literature, and then I transitioned about 3 years ago. So overall, I'm going to go, the arc of the talk is going to look like, what is Kiva, Kiva's global impact, Kiva's history of data transparency. Thank you. And then a glimpse into Kiva's future data projects, and then how you can participate in Kiva's mission or want to play with Kiva's data. One of the things I was listening to on the way here was a radio program with some of the leaders of AI and ethics, talking about the different organizations' data monopolies. And so like generating a lot of data but not sharing it. And so what I want to position Kiva as is like, we've had a history of radical transparency with our data, drawing from crisis. So like crisis can bring good things. So dreams are universal, opportunity is not. This is Kiva's value proposition. And the idea that everybody wants to pursue their own dreams, but then maybe because you just don't have access to a car, maybe you don't have access to enough capital, that you are prevented from realizing your dreams and turning your dreams into actions. So Kiva was started in 2006 to bring this vision of a financially inclusive world, of bringing finance resources to the unbanked in order to improve their lives. So what makes Kiva unique? You might have heard of Kiva. Does any Kiva fans here? Oh, good. There's a good portion of you. So it's a loan to someone, not a donation. So let's say Sean needs more Lego robots, and each one of those kits is $500, but he wants to make an education project and he lives in Bolivia. He's going to ask for a loan for $500, and then you can help backfill this loan. You have selected Sean's project amongst all the others, something like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, but Kiva predates both of those. And then you can lend Sean $25, and then when he runs all his workshops in Bolivia, he collects $5 each from each of the families, and he pays back that loan. So the idea of like pushing the boundaries of what is actually a loan is important to Kiva. So the idea that it's not necessarily for interest. Kiva doesn't lend at interest to its partners currently. And then Kiva loans have ripple effects. So like if you decide that you want to support a mother who's trying to start a dairy farm, that you're supporting her family and her livelihood, and then the village around her that supports that system of dairy farming. So I'm going to walk you through the journey of a Kiva loan. This is important later to the story of data transparency at Kiva, because that's where our kind of initial crisis comes in. That led to data transparency. So this is our yet to be unveiled graphic on how a Kiva loan works. And so first, a borrower applies for a loan at a partner company, and we work with partner nonprofits and institutions in over 80 countries because we can't have boots on the ground. Like in order to scale impact, like we need to work with partners across the globe. But there's also a version of Kiva where you can apply for a direct loan, where you can support the enterprise directly through a social impact direct DSE loan. I can't remember what S is at the moment, but it's enterprise, or a loan in the US. So those are where you are lending a single institution money. For most of the loans in, let's say, Thailand or Bolivia or Kenya, we're working with partners. So partner loans are facilitated by local nonprofits and lending institutions. They do the underwriting, they do the vetting because they understand the market that they're working with. So again, this idea of like, we can't go in there and tell people what is important to them and what to take loans for or apply. So we think it's best to work with people on the ground. So direct loans are approved through social underwriting. So in the US in particular, you can start, let's say, a honeybee business is one of our biggest loans. And then you have to have 10 of your friends and family support the loan before it goes on the site. So that's our version of social underwriting. And then the loan dispersal period. So the loan is dispersed at the discretion of the partner. So it's either before the loan has been posted on the site or after. So because we at Kiva can't really control when the harvest season is in Uganda, right? So they need their seeds then at a certain time. They need the money to buy those seeds then, and then you can help backfill that loan at a convenient time for you, whereas it would be an inconvenient time for the borrower. And then the loan is posted on kiva.org. If you go there right now, you can see, you can choose the different projects like you would on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. And then it has a 30-day fundraising period. And then when that fundraising period is complete, the loan is either funded and dispersed back to the partner, or it expires. And then so the people don't get the money, it's kind of all or nothing. And then the partner has the choice, the option to repost that loan again. And then the borrower repays that loan. So we have all contributed $25 to Sean's project of education projects in Bolivia for Lego Mindstorms. He has paid us back, and then you have the choice to recycle that money, or you have the choice to withdraw it and buy dinner. So that's the history of the loan, and this is step 6. You use your repayment either to fund it or withdraw the money. So $25 at a time over 12 years, and this is Kiva's impact. We have supported over 3.2 million borrowers. We've dispersed over $1.3 billion in capital to developing countries, often to women. This year, we will have funded $1 billion just to women. And then our repayment rate is 97%. And that's better than some bank products. I spoke to some people at Rabobank, and they said, like, well, that's better performance than some of our own loans. So the idea, so fundamentally, Kiva and Kiva's data has already proven that the poor do not mean they are not untrustworthy with capital. So that's the first kind of finding that Kiva has with data. And here's like a nice little graphic. If you indulge me, where's my cursor? Oh, there it is. And basically, every single point on that map, it's kind of hard to see, is a loan being dispersed from the United States to a partner. And if you think about all the data that's involved, every single point touches 3 of Kiva's data systems. And so this is billions of dollars, also billions of data points to study. So it's just snow right now. So we're really proud of the impact that we've had in the world and really want to celebrate all of your impact who are familiar with Kiva and Kiva borrowers. This wouldn't have been done without you, and it's $25 at a time. So the fact that if you think that you can't make institutional change over small amounts, over long periods, hopefully this graphic helps dispel that. And then, so Kiva and data transparency. So those billions of data points, what is that? That can bring us insight into the lives of different people in different countries, how capital flows, what kind of poverty rates are happening in different countries. And so like the people who are Kiva borrowers that information affects, like, well, how do you lend? And again, this type of data can assess how we're dispersing capital across the world. So found this quote from Gandhi: "Adversity is the mother of progress." This idea behind data transparency at Kiva was born from crisis. So there was a very popular, influential New York Times article early in Kiva's existence that said, like, you're not lending directly to a farmer in Uganda. You are lending to an organization. That organization is making money into you. So I walked you through the process of the loan because basically step 2 and 3 were occluded from the public view. So that kind of understanding, that kind of rush to get funding out and look for worthy partners happened. But then the effect of that crisis was to create this kind of radical data transparency. So we have over 13 years of data, over $1 million in loans, over $1 billion in loans sent out. I need to update that. Over 80 countries, over 200 partners, 48,000 kind of lending teams. If you can remember, this is early Facebook, so Kiva is actually a social network, and 500,000 messages. And if you download our data right now, you can go to kiva.org/build right now, and it's 3 gigs of CSV data. So that's all kind of big data, all for you. So that history is available for researchers' analysis and your own personal kind of understanding of, like, how you can help people in other countries. So it's available in CSV and JSON formats. And it's our loan plus our lender interaction. So lenders on the website can choose to be public, and so that public donation is marked in our data set. So part of my being here is to announce the new GraphQL API for the last 10 years. It's been a REST API. So if you're a researcher for data, like this entire, I have to get all the data, then parse it kind of intricately is difficult, and like part of the data munging and the data feature engineering. So now you can just go in and grab the exact data that you want. So Kiva.org runs on this API. So you can actually have live data. We'll see if this works. Where's my, there you are. So I have our snippet in Colab. And so basically, here's your base URL. I import the requests. I want a loan, loans in Kenya, the name of the person, the loan amount, activity, the sector, the country, even though I know, and the city and the state. So the thing is, you can get fairly granular with poverty data and the dispersal rate date, if that's something that you care about, and how many lenders are lending to that loan, as well as the partner name if you want to do some kind of due diligence on your own. So I click Collabs, and there it is. So yeah, so it's pretty fast. We like it. And so, you know, they're supporting agriculture, but the activity specifically is maybe tailoring. This is the partner, Vision Fund Kenya, if that's a person that a partner that you're interested in tracking. In the interest of time, I'm not gonna try another one. Oh, I was lucky that worked. I was lucky that worked live. So. And these are our current partners, or history of partners that we've worked with. Stanford University, University of Washington. We've hosted 2 Kaggle competitions with this data. University of Colorado Boulder. Delta Analytics has been a partner for developing open source machine learning curriculum that we've delivered in Kenya and Morocco. That same curriculum is being translated into Spanish for Spanish partners. And then Berkeley Artificial Intelligence Research. So, and this is just a sample of the type of work the Kiva data has facilitated. So we most recently are starting to work with machine learning. Earlier it was microfinance, and also there's like a deep interest in behavioral economics around pro-social behaviors. So the analysis of the team messages was important there. So where is Kiva data used? Again, partnerships are important with Kiva and use of their data. So people have been inspired by helping others by rolling their own Kiva, basically, using our APIs to translate Kiva's website to their own community. So Kiva Japan, everything's translated Japanese, but it feeds back into our website. This is Wakibi, and this is in Dutch. This is Kiva Dutch. Kiva Lens, like people want to do one loan at a time, but Kiva Lens, you can do like thousands of loans at a time. And then millapp.org is actually a Kiva partner that that uses our API to post their own loans. So basically, the branding is different for Millapp, but it's basically Kiva APIs and Kiva underneath. Investibule is an American startup trying to bring support and capital to American lenders, so they're actually also plugged into our API. And so where we're going, so our next partnership is currently with Kiva in the country of Sierra Leone. So we're working with an identity project with the government to bring identity on distributed ledger technology for the citizens of Sierra Leone. So the idea behind it, the motivating idea behind that is data sovereignty and control, so that if, let's say, they need to have the government of Sierra Leone falls, it's hard to get your birth certificate, your passports done, but maybe you have an identifier that you can take across the border. And also, Kiva has a mandate to help rebuild the credit bureau. Apparently, the credit bureau of Sierra Leone is like 2,000 lines on an Excel spreadsheet. So this is a recent project of Kiva. Our milestones are this year. Our team is in Sierra Leone right now for the launch in Sierra Leone. So we'll be collecting more data. And again, the idea about transparency and keeping it on distributed ledger so people will have more control over their data. So Kiva data and you. So this is the scope of the problem. 1.7 billion without access to finance. And so this is where I want to loop back into Peter Norvig's remarks about moving the marketplace to solve the problems that we need solved. It's a big problem space. And I want to amplify his call to action. So we have a choice about what problems we want to solve. We have a choice about where we want to put our time. We have a choice about where I put our money. I've just kind of laid out Kiva's journey, and so what will be yours? Will you be a Kiva lender? Maybe in the future you'll be a Kiva borrower to start your startup. Will you be a data consumer? How will you invite Kiva to join you on your journey to solve problems that are on this scale? And so also we're hiring. So hopefully someone's interested in that. And where to start? www.kiva.org/build. I built out all the developer pages. If you have, if you have interest in giving feedback, please contact me. But basically, we built out the API Spotlight for the GraphQL calls in JavaScript, Python, and curl, just to kind of adapt to your technology. If you have any questions, you'll probably find the community and me on the Google group build-Kiva. And then also, since we talked about our research community, we have a call for proposals. Like, we would like help on creating synthetic data so we can make more of this data available for other people. We actually can't give you all of the data around default because of privacy, but if we have synthetic data, we can actually do better studies. Recommendations and personalization strategies, that's what we're working with. Fairness and recommendations with the University of Colorado Boulder. Other takes would be great too. Non-traditional methods for assessing risk or credit. And then also algorithmic bias. Joy Bolome's talk, her research at MIT was actually kind of coincidental with our understanding of how these public APIs from corporations were not detecting people of color. So we weren't a research organization. We didn't know what to do, but I just basically was like going around like, this doesn't work. We can't use this. And then, or, you know, are you inspired to roll your own Kiva for your own community? So I'd like to end in my last 2 minutes of helping others is a positive sum game. The most impact comes from sharing your work, sharing your data, sharing your efforts, distributing the problems to other people so they can add their take to it, and how to leverage data to solve in real life problems. And so my call is the same as Peter Norvig's and Rachel Thomas's, is like try to do more good with the data that you have. And so again, we're hiring across the stack. And thank you for your attention. Thank you to PyBay. Thank you for Grace and the people I've met, and to Brian Spearing for the invitation. Thank you.
Great talk, super inspiring, and it's great. I talked about in other talks, people come organically to Python and programming, and we can do so many great things. Outstanding, outstanding. Do we have any questions? Okay, I will start us off with a question. Can you tell us something about what the GraphQL backend is like that is able to return with such a large amount of data so quickly?
We actually found like a really fast speed up just switching to GraphQL. It's probably fast because I didn't ask for all the data. I asked for very specific parts of the data, and on the back end, it's powered by PHP, but with Apollo, and served on like a co-location server in San Jose. So maybe we're kind of close to San Jose. But GraphQL that was kind of, I don't like to say game changer because I'm in Silicon Valley, but it did increase like our front page speed significantly, even just from drawing the data from like our data warehouses. Like having the GraphQL was a real boost to our own performance, and that's why they switched over.
Talk, very motivational. And one more question, I'll throw it out there. Since it's a mission for good, is there ways for the community to contribute to Kiva's mission besides financially?
Yeah, we actually have. We don't have a robust open source program, but we do have CrowdVet and some kind of internal tools that we use that we've worked with external organizations. So if you're interested in contributing to open source at Kiva, I often go to Write Speak Code and bring the CrowdVet repo for people to find. And then there's some first-time bugs that are up there and some features that people want to build on. So that's, if you want to give Kiva your time instead of your money, we'd be welcome there as well.
Outstanding. Can we get another hand for Melissa?